Hey, what is up, YouTube? Kolst here. We're back for what number we're on? 6th or 7th review? I don't know. It's Priest is the point for Whizbang's Workshop. So let's just talk about it because we have Purify Priest. The Unicorn Priest is finally here? Question mark? Probably not, but maybe. So Purifying Power, 2-mana Holy Spell, silence all friendly minions, and then give them +1/+2. This is weird because I guess it's like, you know, Priest doesn't really do this. I don't know. Like, you can't run this in an aggressive deck like Undead Priest because you can't really silence your own minions in Undead Priest. So it's just like a AoE buff, but only certain minions can do it because you can't silence a lot of the things. So a lot of those things happen to be in aggro. I don't know what deck you're supposed to put this in except in Wild. I guess Purify Priest, right? But like, I guess, I don't know. In Arena, it's like sometimes you'll just have vanilla stuff and then you actually could use this, right? It's probably okay. Oh, that's true. It does silence 1/1s. It does silence miniaturizes into full form, actually. That's probably the one thing, actually, yeah. It doesn't? Minis are different? Wait, let me check. Where's a miniaturize? Miniaturized? Do they not have a miniaturize? Here's one. It has different text on it, so maybe it doesn't work, right? So it's actually a different card. So it actually says mini on it. So I guess it doesn't. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess that doesn't even work. Seems like it doesn't work. So you can't even do that. So yeah, I don't know what the hell. It's like, I guess this is like, it's a really conditional buff in a class that doesn't really set up these kind of boards anyway. I guess you can do it with, you could use it on light bugs if you're willing to give up the lifesteal, right? If you're pushing anyway, like you could buff your light bugs, I guess. You know, it's fine, but yeah, I don't know, pretty situational. So it's like almost like needlessly situational. The upside isn't really worth it probably, so you probably just don't take it, right? It's probably not like completely trash, but he's still probably, I don't know. Yeah, we'll just say 1 star. Next, Scale Replica, 2 mana spell, draw your lowest cost and highest cost dragon. So it's really good. I mean, Priest is, when they have dragons, they have a lot of really good dragons. We don't know what cards are going to be in Arena, however, in the next rotation. So are you going to have enough dragons to make this consistently? You'd hope so. If you can, it's really good. If you can't, it's useless. But hopefully you have the dragons. You pick it if you have the dragons, right? If you do, you value this pretty highly. Still probably wouldn't be like the best card, and you still wouldn't take it over like a lot of premium cards probably, even if you had, unless you had like really, really good dragons, right? But it's a good card. So if you can pull your dragons, because a lot of those Priest dragons really are deck defining, so be a card that you like to have. It's just synergy reliant, right? So you'd be hoping to make it work, but meta dependent, so it's hard to just rate it because it really just depends on what cards are actually in, which we don't know yet. Next up, Careless Crafter, 3 mana, 3/3, Death Rattle. Get 2 0-cost bandages that restore 3 health. One thing is, Priest actually has been pretty bad at burst healing compared to a lot of the other classes. So there's just a lot of burst healing. I guess it's delayed because you have to play this to have it die before you can actually use the burst healing. That's the one thing. But still, it's a lot of healing. So it's like a 3 mana 3/3. It's a little weird because you don't really want to play on curve because it's just a 3 mana 3/3. You're not really getting benefit. It'd be a lot better if this was Battlecry, just because then you could just rip it and then, you know, use it like an Earthring Farseer plus get more healing later. Still, it's like, as I said, like Priest has been kind of lacking healing, so you might just want to take one of these. You probably just, I guess on our scale, since we're kind of saying like based off how often you pick it, you probably want to pick one of these, but it's like this is a common. You don't just take every one of these you can just because you can. Unless, I guess, yeah, if you have overheal stuff, that would also be really good with that. You do generally want to go for overheal, so you might take it for that reason, actually. I know, it's like, as a standalone card, it's just not it's like a card you'd like to have one of, but you'd be skipping some of them because you just don't need to take them all the time. It's still probably the same thing, just because, yeah. It's like you want to have like one of these probably, maybe two, but you just wouldn't prioritize them super high. Is it better than spring water? It probably is, but yeah, I don't know how high you prioritize a spring water. I don't know. This card's probably just like, we'll probably just say it's like a 3-star card, I would say. It's probably just in the middle. The only reason it would be worse than spring water, like it's good to actually get a minion in addition to basically the same effect. And it's more mana efficient because it's than the actual spring water. It's like way better than spring water. The only problem is that it just doesn't have initiative out of your hand. You draw it, it doesn't do anything yet, right? You have to actually play it and have it die. But it should be pretty good. It's at least a 3-star card, I think. Could be better, but probably it's a little hard. Next up, Papercraft Angel. 3 mana, 2/5. Your hero power costs 0. So that's an effect that it's not like a battle cry. It's just, it's while this is on the board, your hero power costs 0. It'd be nice if you play a 2/3. If you're back in like 2014 and you play a 2/3, your opponent plays a 2/3. You bump their 2/3. You play this. You get a free hero power. It does something. Woohoo! Yeah, it's like super power creep on Maiden of the Lake. Yeah. It's fine, right? I mean, at worst, like you play this and if you've taken damage, you just get like free healing on your face, if nothing else, right? It's fine. There is some hero power synergy, which we'll talk about later, although it's going to be kind of more constructed, like it's not really an arena thing. But you could technically do it. Overall, I mean, it's like this card's just not that good, right? I mean, it's not bad, it's just not that good either. It's in the middle. Is this worth a 3? I don't know. 3 might be a little generous. If like, I think you'd rather have this card. Probably. Oh no, it's like this is actually a better, like it's a better board card, right? It's actually better tempo, but like this has a lot more utility, so I don't know. But it's still like a 2.5 to a 3, I think. I think it's a little worse than this card probably overall, but you know, it's still fine. Next up, Chalk Artist. 4 mana, 4/3. Battle Cry. Draw a minion, transform it into a random legendary, keeping its original stats and cost. This is like such... I mean, the amount of random here is crazy. I mean, the thing that's really funny is like, you're just drawing a minion. You're not controlling what you transform. There's an actual chance you can draw your legendary minion and turn it into a garbage legendary. Your big legendary, you could just turn into garbage with this. It could just lose you the game automatically, actually. But you could also draw 1-drop and then turn it into a, I don't know, a 1 mana Alexstrasza or Ysera or something, I guess. You know, something like that too. Yeah, or a raid boss in Ixia, exactly. So it's like completely random. Completely out of your control, right? Why does it say bandage is related to this card? I don't know. Will cause me immense pain. That is very true, yeah. Because it's like a 4 mana 4/3 draw. And like usually legendaries just aren't actually that good, right? It depends on the rotation, how many old sets are in. If there's a lot of old sets in and stuff, then it's not that good on average. So like it really shouldn't be that good. On average it should be a downside, and it's a 4 mana 4/3 draw, which is also not that good. So like the card shouldn't be good. It's probably like a 2, I guess. Right? It is a card where it's like if your deck is terrible, you just take this card because you're like, hey, this might actually get me to win a game, right? And also, I guess if you're like a below average player too, like you just take it because you're like, hey, this might scam a win, right? But as a good player, you just don't take this, right? It's a 2 at best. It might even be worse. Is it worse than Alarm Security Bot? Probably not, because this is a battle cry. Security Bot's really awkward because it also has to die. You can at least get a battle cry with this. You could potentially like play a 1 mana raid boss immediately, right? If you play it a little in the mid game. So, I mean, that makes it a lot more convenient, I think, but I don't know. I still just wouldn't want to pick it myself. Next up, Fly Off the Shelves. 4 mana spell. Deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. Repeat for each dragon you're holding. So this would be a pretty significant payoff if you actually happen to have Scale Replica to get more dragons in your hand. That makes it really good, because in its base form, 4 mana deal 1 is not good enough, right? Do this twice, it's still not really good enough. I mean, it's not terrible at that point, but it's still not really good enough. You need to hit like at least 3 times, right? So you need 2 dragons. If you have that dragon tails, you automatically get there. And then anything past that is really good. There's a good, reasonable chance if there's a lot of dragons in the meta, you may be able to get like 3 or 4 or 5 hits out of this, right? So very synergy reliant, but in the right deck, amazing. So in the right deck, it's a 5. In the average deck, we just don't know because we don't know what cards are going to be in. But in the average deck, it's probably more like a 2 to a 3. But in certain decks, it's a 5. So we'll just say it's like a 3 on average. But again, in certain decks, it's amazing. Next up, Razza the Resealed. 5 mana, 5/5 battle cry. For the rest of the game, your hero power refreshes whenever you play a card. So if you can actually like, it's a little expensive, and I'm not sure exactly how you would expect to make this work. But I mean, if you get this on board with this, and then somehow have a whole bunch of spells, you can do this. You're supposed to like upgrade your hero power, or play the other Razza in Wild. Either you're supposed to play the other Razza in Wild, or you're supposed to like upgrade your hero power via like a hero card or something, right? That would be the whole idea with this. But so in Arena, it's like, I don't know, if you're just refreshing your priest hero power, like this doesn't really do anything, right? So it's like, it's just like, why? Oh, it's for the rest of the game though, so like it's actually, I mean, it does. You don't have to do this all at once. Still fine, but I don't know. You're supposed to like have things that you're just not gonna have in Arena with this, so it's probably just not good. Maybe this is still good enough to be like, you might still get some value, right? Maybe it's still a 2, but like, I don't think it's like unpickable, but it's also like, you know, how many legendaries are you gonna pick this over? Probably not a lot. So advantages did get better, but they become like, I mean, you're just getting like, it's just getting like regular priest hero power is just not that good though, right? Anyway, next up, Timewinder Zurimi. 5 mana 4/6 battle cry once per game. If you summon 5 other dragons, take an extra turn. So I mean, that pretty much should mean just win the game automatically, right? If you've played 5 dragons and you play this, you don't automatically win. It's kind of question mark. Because either you kill them outright, or you kill them outright if you have an extra turn, or you just clear their board and then they should be completely dead, right? That's the thing is like, it's an incredibly, it's like one of the best abilities you could ever put on a card, basically. The problem is like the condition, right? You've summoned 5 other dragons. Summons, so you don't have to play them if you can actually summon dragons. That's not the easiest thing to do, but how do you actually... 5 dragons is a lot for, you know, it's just, this is another thing where it's like, it really depends on the card pool. We really can't judge this card without knowing what cards are even going to be in Arena. They like to put, when they have like themes, they like to put a lot of cards that fit the theme in Arena though. So it's like, there's probably going to be enough dragons to make this like reasonably good, right? Does Priest have any really good ways to actually summon dragons though? Oh yeah, that's true. Like the miniaturize is one thing. Oh yeah, we haven't talked about that one yet. They do have a miniaturized dragon, so that would be like one really easy way. Oh yeah, Whelp Wrangler. That's also true. It's a powerful enough effect that you probably, it'd be a frustrating thing, because like sometimes you just will not get the dragons right, but it's so good if you actually do. And the origami cards, those are also dragons, yeah. So it's hard to rate a card like this because it literally it's either a 5 or a 1 and there's no in between basically. You know, if you just take the middle, say it's a 3. I mean, it's like it's literally just a 5 or a 1. So I don't know. Here's one of these. Oh yeah, this is 4 actually. That's true. Clay Matriarch. That actually makes it just really easy automatically if you just get this one card, which is a rare. Because it's a 6 mana 3/7 dragon with miniaturize. And Taunt and Death Rattle, summon a 4/4 well with elusive. So even if they have silence, if they just have 1 silence, by the way, you still get 3, right? Because they can silence 1, but then you still get 2 more. Because the 4/4 is indeed a dragon. And they would have to, if they had like AoE silence, if you played both of them together, they could silence both, but I don't know. Whelps do not have elusive, or they do not have taunt. They have elusive, but they do not have taunt. And this guy, by the way, has taunt, but does not have elusive, so they can like at least silence away one of them with the taunt. Like the silence is pretty good here, but I don't know. You're still getting a lot of dragons if you happen to have that other thing. And overall, I mean, this is just like a lot of stats, right? This version is 6 mana for a 3/7 taunt and a 4/4, which is an absurd amount of stats for just 6 mana. It's absurd. Some of these big taunts they're making are just like absurd amounts of stats. It's kind of ridiculous, actually. And then you also get a 1 mana 5/5, right? A 1 mana that also summons the 4/4. So it's kind of ridiculous, actually, that you can just play 1 dragon at any point, and then you just do this, and then you get 4 dragons, and then you can just already do this. It's kind of ridiculous. You just have that 1 card. Kind of insane. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, especially if you have this card. If you have this card, you take this over literally any card in the game. But it's still just, I mean, this is probably a 5-star anyway, right? It's just so good because it's not even vulnerable to like removal or silence because it's all the stats are spread across multiple bodies in a way that's not vulnerable to really anything, right? It's just, it's ridiculous. So insanely powerful card. Next up, Repackage. Last card for Priest. 7 mana epic spell. Stuff all minions into a 2-cost box and then shuffle it into the opponent's deck. So this would be a card that adds all the cards to your hand. So this is like a new version of Psychic Scream, basically. Unlike Psychic Scream, the one thing was you couldn't play Psychic Scream in a real attrition deck because it would just lose you the it would just automatically lose you the fatigue game, right? So that was always one weird thing with Psychic Scream. This is still probably has a similar downside, right? Like you really wouldn't want to give them this either. It's still more like a tempo thing in that result, right? Compared to Psychic Scream, it's not a shout spell, is true. But I don't know, I mean, this guy thing is still really good, and I would think it's still really good because it's a silence remove everything basically. Or it's like, it's technically a poof, it doesn't even kill them, so it's like they can't even like resummon something. That does actually matter sometimes. So you get really tilted when they get the box immediately, and if they have really good things that are battle cries, you would hope to just not use this on battle cries and stuff like that if you can help it, just to, you know, not lose that way. But overall, they still have to spend 2 mana even. I mean, you would probably just go for this because it's pretty good. Right? It's only like a 5 mana vanish if you think about it. If they draw it immediately, because, well, they lose a draw. Technically, they lose a draw still compared to vanish, but also they have to spend 2 mana. So it's like net 5 mana. Even in that case, it's still like really good, right? Even if you were technically, even if you assumed that they got it immediately, and you were just using it like a vanish, it would actually still be pretty good. So you'd probably draft it pretty highly as a result. I mean, like, would you take Psychic Scream really highly? Yeah. They get your minions too. But you probably, if you're playing this, you don't have minions, you would think, right? Unless you could shuffle. The other thing you could do is you could just give them all light bugs. Well, actually, in Xyz, With Psychic Scream, you can actually like shuffle, give them all your light bugs, and then their draws are screwed, right? But you can't actually do that really with this. Doesn't really work the same way, unfortunately. So that would be really funny. But yeah, it's gotta be strong. I don't know if I don't know if you can give this like 5 stars though. You probably give this a 4 star, I would say. With that, anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Appreciate you guys all hanging out. Of course, as always, got a few more reviews to go. Appreciate you guys hanging out. See you guys in the next one.